works is after your introductory classes, you have to take 6 breadth classes, so a class in every single specific area in the field, and then eventually you pick 2 depths and you dive into those and take really high level concentrated classes there. So the 5 depths at our school are interfaces, security, artificial intelligence, systems, and theory. I'm really not sure what I'm planning to do. My research this summer was in artificial intelligence. It was in computational vision. And I always thought that artificial intelligence was building robots, like what Carla wants to do, but actually it's just computers learning from a human. So that's an area that I really want to dive into. As to the other depth that I'm going to pursue, I'm not sure yet, but that's one of the best things, as Ryan said, is you got plenty of time to decide on what you want to concentrate in. Once you got your major, you really get to explore the different areas and figure out what you really want to do.
Hey Megan, I'm going to suggest you look into security.
Great. Okay, so Megan Yvette, so what does it mean to conduct research, and can you get experience in research as a college student?
So I know Ryan talked a little bit about research, sorry, that was really loud. I think some bio research where you're cleaning glassware, you're kind of working your way up the ranks. I don't know what happened, but I got super lucky. I'm doing some really high-level research this summer because my professor trusts me for some reason. And I'm doing research in computational vision, so that would be computer vision, so taking a video, splitting up into frames, the computer being able to track a target throughout the frames, and that being able to succeed human vision. So it's for very adverse media. Some of the things that I'm doing with that is I've compiled a database for our benchmark of all our data. I've actually ran the trackers, worked a little bit on the algorithms, which is really cool. And one of the best things I think about research is I figured out that this is something that I might want to do. And I think that's really cool that through something out in the classroom, I was able to figure out that this is an area that I want to go in. Some of my friends, they did research, they hated it. They figured out that they don't want to do it as a job. So that's something that's really open for college students. As we talked about before, talking to your professors is one of the best ways you can do that. Just networking among the school, because all the professors are going to be conducting research that summer. So if you meet a professor that you really click with, just shoot them an email and they might give you a research position, and it's a really great way to learn.
Okay, so my microphones don't work. So about research. Oh, I think it's a good. So the way that I got into it, I essentially just sent out a whole bunch of emails to different professors that I really wanted to conduct research. In the beginning, it was more of I want to know what I'm learning in class and put hands-on activities into it. So I ended up making a biodegradable circuit for essentially surgery goes in, they put it in, they can dispose within the body without having to go back and take it out. It applies radiation to a certain area. I was actually just working under a PhD student, and he would just tell me when he needed me to come into the lab and really perform tasks for him. I ended up learning that it was really meticulous, and I didn't really want to do it. So essentially, how she was saying it, I didn't want to be a lab rat for my whole career is what I needed. After that, I kind of started looking into positions, and professors started knowing my name, and I actually got a position as a Chem 104 TA. It's just a general studies course, I guess you can say, for freshmen and sophomores, and then that's where I really got into helping them. People were coming up to me asking questions, how is engineering, how did you choose what you wanted? So that kind of went into research, and then I found that I really liked helping and interacting with people. So once after that, I had that sort of little experience. I had that on my resume, and then I conducted research in Madrid, Spain as abroad for a summer. And I realized that summer was more of conducting research, but also in a lab and then going out and talking to people. So I found that that's something that I really like. And after that, I had my internship at Kimberly-Clark, and I realized I wanted to be a product developer because you have that sort of aspect. You get to be in the lab for a little bit of time, you get the data that you need, and then you can actually go out and test on consumers and ask them, is this what you want? Is this the improvement that you were looking for? And you come back. It's actually funny how someone actually described a product developer. So one of my mentors, I guess, at Kimberly-Clark said they made this lotion for nursing homes, and they went to go talk to the consumers and see, is this what the improvement that you wanted? And she's like, no, I don't like that lotion, it's too slippery. If it falls on the floor, I can break my hip, like, I can slip on it. So it's those sort of things you don't think of as a product developer, because essentially you start thinking, oh, they're just gonna put it on their hands, it's not a safety issue. But then you do realize the needs that the consumer has to be well developed, and that's what I really enjoy. I like a problem and I want to go out and ask what it is that I need to do to fix it.
Great, so you said how you did research in Spain, so is it like really common for engineering students to be able to go abroad to do research or have an internship or study abroad?
So some majors do allow you to have a semester abroad, and then you can actually develop those classes there, and they're not very different because you do take them in English. Some you can take them in the other language, but those classes are hard enough in English. I don't know how you do it in language. I actually just did, I applied, and they're actually really incorporating it into the curriculum because they want people to study abroad, because engineering, like everyone else is saying, it's not something that you should stay within a box. You should want to grow and go out of those cultures. And I really love studying abroad. For anyone who has any thoughts about it, you should really do it. Even if it's not for a semester, you want to get off track, do it for the summer. I actually got credit for conducting research in Spain, so it was one less class I needed to take in the US, so it worked out.
And I know that some majors have study abroad opportunities that are very specific to the major. I know that there's, at least mechanical, there's one in Germany where you go to work with cars. And for biomed, there's one in South Africa where you make medical devices for like the indigenous people there. So that's again, you can talk to your advisor, and there's very broad study abroad programs that you can do, and there's also really concentrated ones for your major that you can also delve into.
Great, okay. So now for all the professionals, can you like describe your current job or your last engineering or computer science related job and your title?
I'm currently a second grade teacher, which is a beautiful thing. I'm enjoying that definitely. But my last engineering job was as an industrial engineering supervisor with United Parcel Service, UPS. And basically, I don't know if anyone talked about industrial engineering, but basically industrial engineering is the study of ergonomics, and that's basically the relationship between people and machines. And I love that because at Purdue, I was able to take a host of engineering classes. So I had electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, I had everything. Didn't know that that was going to happen until I actually got into it. But it actually worked out well because it gave me a great background for what I was getting into in my career. And at UPS, I worked at the big facility there on 294, they call it CATCH, the Chicago Area Consolidation Hub. Lots and lots and lots of packages. But between that facility and then some of the area UPS facilities, I was one of the engineers that helped to decide how many, and they don't call them brown trucks, they actually call them package cars, so that's one thing you learned today. But how many package cars will go out each day, approximately how many packages would go into each package car, how many drivers we would need, and how long it would take them. So we were basically looking at the efficiency of the operation. So in the mornings, I would have to determine on a computer how many thousands of packages we had, how many package cars were going out, how would we split up the drivers. And then during the course of the day, I would actually accompany some of the drivers to, well, I want to say supervise. I was kind of testing them to make sure that they were operating in the most efficient manner. Actually counting how many right turns they make, how many left turns they make, their speed, how quickly they could get off of a package car to deliver it to the person's door. Lots of those things were taken into consideration because time is money. And it was a lot of fun because I got to meet not only just our drivers, but as we're out, we talked about the experience with the customer, talking with the customers and understanding their needs. How often did they need to have deliveries? How often did they need to have pickups? So it was a lot of fun. I left that position because I was at a 24-hour facility, and both of my boys are graduates here at NAS, but when I was at UPS, they were in elementary school, and a lot of times I would kiss them in the morning at 5 a.m. while they were still sleeping, and I would go to work. And then I wouldn't get home until 11 p.m. when they were sleeping again. And I really wanted to be a little bit more a part of their lives while they were awake. So that was just my decision because of the particular position that I had at that time. And at the time of that position, they were also talking about moving me to New Jersey, and that wasn't going to happen. So I made the decision to leave at that point, but that was my last engineering job.
Well, I'm still in engineering. I matriculated through the development of software, where I designed software for a little company on the south side of Chicago when I left Notre Dame. And we made military equipment for the government. And then I went on to a company that was in Naperville called Tel Labs, and we designed and developed telecommunications equipment. Pretty much a sit in your central office equipment, so you would never see it as an individual. However, everyone your telephone calls would go through it. I was the department head for all of our validation and testing. So we would, my teams would be responsible for ensuring that when you actually get a phone call, that it was being delivered to the right person at the right time, at a high level though, at a central office for the most part. So now, I currently work for Motorola Mobility, and we make the wonderful Moto X collection. And as you know, they developed and designed. Motorola is the company that actually designs cellular technology. It's pretty sad that they are probably number 3 in handset devices today. But on a day-to-day basis today, I work in our IT organization. So I lead a team of individuals who are chemical engineers, software engineers, mechanical engineers, that deliver information technology services and solutions to the whole corporation. Let me say this, I am actually working as we're talking. One thing about IT, you may not necessarily be implementing it yourself, but we do these cutovers in the middle of the night, during the day, Saturdays. So we are upgrading our servers on one of our applications. We started last night at 11 o'clock. It didn't go well. Somebody's database is not working right now. So as a result, I'm checking my phone to make sure that at some point I will be escalated from some vice president. I can't get into my system. So on a day-to-day basis, from an IT perspective, we normally as IT professionals, today they have degrees for IT professionals, but by and large, any engineer can become an IT professional for the most part, okay? You learn that in your career. And in engineering in general, we are problem solvers. And we particularly have an area of concentration for solving those problems. So for example, I talk about security. That's probably one of the hottest, most strongest IT professionals you can have, because you know how it is. Everyone's talking about privacy and keeping your data safe. You cannot, that's a profession that's growing, and you'll see more about it. So being an IT professional, we have all kinds of people there. And we solve the same types of problems, engineering problems. They could be, like I said, security, they could be data problems, they could be every day that you have, I'm not speaking of your apps that you have on your phones, speaking of how, let's say, the iPhone is matriculated through its development. Those are engineering problems related to IT. And as IT needs grow, because everybody wants to have access. You want to have access to the bathroom now, you want to have access on the plane, you want to have access everywhere. And you do. You want to go to the coffee shops, we have access out in the parks. All of that is as a result of your IT professionals. So on a day-to-day basis, I sit back and I wait on one of my customers, which are internal, to call and say, Colette, I can't access something. And then we deal with it. But it's a great career. It allows for a lot of flexibility because we have to work 24/7. We don't have to leave our home sometimes. We do that from home. But it's a great opportunity for anyone. I think we don't think of IT professionals as just the help desk person that you call to repair your computer, because that is actually a computer repair person. That's not necessarily an IT professional. we build networks, we build all kinds of things. So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I'm old, so I've been around to see how these things happen and develop over time. So I'm going to say this real quickly. When I left the University of Notre Dame as an electrical engineering, I did not have a clue what I was doing. Not a clue, I'm going to say it that way. I left there and I went into computer science. I had a concentration in computer science because there was no computer science at the time. So I did not know what I was doing. But as a result of getting in engineering, I was able to find my way once I went to solve some problems at the first engineering firm that I was at. So I'm going to shut up so we can move on down here. I could talk forever.
So my career pretty much started in mid-June of the summer, and I work with John Deere Information Systems, which is the dealer. It's the part of John Deere that deals with dealerships, so like the ones you see around some neighborhoods. And I have two main roles. My first role is I deal with proactive requests. So if they are handling, we have certain applications that dealers use. And if it's running slow or it's locking them up, I'm the one that has to call them and let them know, hi, your application is slow is the reason why, and try to solve them with that. Try to solve why that's happening with them. And then I'm also doing data analysis for that, for Mexico, where their completion of requests is very low. So I'm trying to figure out why is this happening. I'm trying to figure out a process to improve that. And so, I mean, our page it just started, so I'm not doing a whole lot yet. But I'm learning every day of new things with the application, learning how to conduct meetings. I'm learning a lot every day when I go to work.
Hey, I had already touched base with what I do. So right now I'm interning with Kimberly Clark. I'm currently improving pull-ups. I can't really say what I'm doing, kind of confidential. It's a secret. Just kidding. Working with pull-ups and making them better with their main competitor, PMG and Pampers, and their Easy Up version. Sorry. So essentially, I do a lot of lab work just because I'm the intern, and then I go into my team and I tell them what I found, what the mode of failures were, how essentially I'm narrowing down their options of how to improve this product. I really enjoy, first I chose my major just because chemical engineering, you can kind of go in a lot of different places. We aren't really specialized at the U of I like they are at Purdue or wherever, Ohio State or wherever you went. So essentially you can, sorry I don't know, essentially you can go wherever you want. You can go into petroleum, which work for BP or Shell, which I wasn't really interested in because that's more of a structuralized work field. I really wanted to go into food, but never got to experience that because I really enjoyed consumer products, which I am in right now. So consumer products go Scott tissue to diapers to hair lotion, shampoo and conditioners, cosmetics. You can really go into a variety of different places, and chemical engineering, they can sort of place you in most of the roles that other engineers are. We're mainly hired as process engineers, which is literally in a warehouse, in a plant, conducting, making sure that machines are running, and if they're not, how to observe and ensure that they're being optimized in the most efficient places. I really like the product development role just because I can do a lot of everything. I can be in the lab, I can be with my team members, I can be out on trials and at the warehouse facilities and doing all those sort of things. So it's a little bit of everything, and it's not, I get bored kind of easily, and I like to be all over the place. If you want a structuralized role, you kind of have to do your research and really ensure you know what you're getting yourself into, because I like that hectic lifestyle. If there's a problem, okay, let's go out and fix it and do it better. I don't like to be at my desk a lot, and I'm not that much. And there's a variety of different people that do like to be at their desk, but there's just people that are never at their desk. It's just essentially what you want to do with your life, and that goes into doing the research, getting your internships in, and whatnot.
Well, I'm going to be in chemical engineering now, product development. So, again, for me, I would say I am more in accordance with Colette there. I am an IT professional as well. I work for AT&T Services. I work on business side, so when the businesses require internet, just to get connection from wherever, and that may be a bathroom or their branch offices to their headquarters. That's what I do. I design them, I build them, and then I let them take over so that they can do their job. Practically everybody needs connection, but at the same time, when you go a little bit deeper into that, connection is one thing. You want to have how well you do on your internet is one thing, then how would you secure it is another thing, and how would you make sure that nobody else gets to whatever you are trying to develop, and that may be Kimberly Clark trying to make a competitor for Pampers, so that secret is kept safe by the security on your internet and the web. So that's part of what I do. Earlier on, I have a telecommunications major, and that's my master's. I started off with electronics and communication in my BE, and as I started going towards communication, that's what something I related with, and that's the only reason I continued doing that. Before AT&T, I was working for another computer networks company, and this was in Midwest, in Nebraska, Omaha, where I did my master's in University of Nebraska. And I was recruited through the campus recruitment, so it was more of giving an interview, and they took me over. Right now, what I like to do is get exactly that. I get to talk to a lot of folks, and they may be our customers. I like to talk to them about what their requirements are. That's what I do, and what they want to do with their networks. Good thing about what I like about this, see my configuration or what I have designed be put into place. So I can say, for example, if I'll say for Walgreens, that has my configuration, or UHG or GPMC, all these names, they say, okay, that one's using my network, which I built. So that's the part I like about it. It's something I can see from conception to be actually working in the field. So that's what the main part about being an engineer is. You do stuff. People think about it, we actually do it, we implement it. It's an application, whichever field you want to be in. It's aeronautical, chemical, computer science, computer networks, and biomedicals. We apply whatever sciences we have and other people have got to a point where it is applicable. We apply it and get to a point where it can be used by people. So that's what I like about my field. Thanks.
Great. Okay, so Yvette, I know you just started out in your professional career, so can you describe what a typical day is for an entry-level engineering job?
So it kind of just depends on what company you work for. I really like working for a Fortune 500 company because they don't really monitor you. You can come in, they say, come in anytime before 9. We're really relaxed in our dress code, so I could wear jeans with this and go to work. It really depends on our statuses, dress for how you would want to be seen that day. So if you're going to be in a lab, you're going to want to be comfortable. You're going to want to be comfortable in your tennis shoes and your jeans. It doesn't really matter. They don't really encompass like, oh, you need to do this at this time. It's not really structured. It's more let you be what you want to do. Essentially, at the beginning of my term, they gave me objectives. They gave me my project, and like, we would like you to improve on this. And then they're really probably almost going to be vague, and it's really just how you take that internship and how you make an impact on that company. So I got improve this product, and that's how it was. I had to set up. I need to do these test methods to see what it is at our current, how am I going to improve it with these different newer properties and whatnot. And then I needed to go above and beyond, because you always want to go above and beyond and develop a new test method or come up with something different so you actually show that you're engaged and really interested in the company. And I don't know, I ended up learning to love what I'm doing right now. I am going to say it's kind of I'm stressed sometimes, but I also, when I go into the store and I pick up a pull-up, I'm like, I made this, I improved this. So it's just something that's rewarding, and the other factors aside from you go to bed at night, you're stressed out, you go to work the next morning, you work with your other team members. Oh, that was another thing. So I'm a chemical engineer in my background, but my mentor is actually a mathematician. She studied math and got her master's. There's people who work on the material side, and they studied statistics. it really is just what you do with your profession and how you get placed. Like, you can really move around within companies if you don't like, so even if you choose your major and you've gotten so far and you're like, wait, maybe I don't want to do this, through your career, you can always move on to different paths. Just build those relationships, build those kind of backgrounds, and I'm sure you can be placed wherever your heart really desires, I think.
Great. Okay, so Ms. Mann, what areas of engineering and computer science do you think are most in demand?
Oh, great question. Thank you. You know, it's funny, when I was going to the University of Notre Dame, I started because I went to a summer program between my junior and senior year of high school for mechanical engineering. I love math and science. And then I get there and I read an article that chemical engineering is the highest paid degree. And I had lots of debt, so I thought that would be a good idea. So I went that route, and I'm like, no, don't like, I want to be cute when I go to work, so I don't want to wear lab jackets, so I didn't go that route. So I ended up in electrical engineering, computer science. That's always been my story. It's a great story. But today I'm in IT. And I can tell you that if you decide to go into any particular engineering profession, you're going to do well. But I can tell you from a statistic that I learned yesterday that the unemployment rate for IT professionals is below 2%. So that means that they do not have enough professionals to meet the need, because when you get below 2%, that means that those are unemployable people, pretty much. That means like zero almost. So if you ask me that question today, I would say that from a computer science degree, or computer science, you can do anything. If you work in the information technology area, you're going to always be in high demand, because our work stream does not stop. Okay, it doesn't stop. And we are the arteries of a business. So if you don't have information technology, you really can't figure out if the pull-up is working well. And we are everywhere. We are everywhere. So that's my answer today. Several years ago it was chemical engineering because it had the highest paid salary. But that's in the highest demand. And inside of that function, you can do so many different things. Even in product development, I know you guys read on the news or heard on the news, you might have, that our company has downsized. And they outsource or downsize 50% of our product developers. Now they will go on to do great things at other companies as well. And they also downsize and outsource a significant number of our IT professionals as well. But what we do know is that our IT professionals will have a very quick turnaround in being placed at another company, versus perhaps our product developers will take just a little bit more time.
Can I say something with that? When I went to career fairs, there was literally recruiters grabbing computer science majors. They're like, oh, I see it on your name badge. You want to talk to us? They really, just because I think it's the aspect that people think that it's super hard and it's not for a lot of people, but I think in college, wherever you came from, you're going to learn, you're going to build off of those things. You can't, I don't know if we ever got to the question of, did you ever have coding experience before this? I know that coding wasn't for me, but just like someone else said, computer science isn't technically all coding. If you're scared about it, but you really need to try. I took an introductory code course that every engineer had to take, and I struggled with it, but I feel like if I had gotten into it and really got involved like I did with chemical engineering, I would have succeeded and been with that. I think I just liked the fact that I would have been working and interacting with people. It was just my job description that I wanted at the end. But yeah, it's in high demand for sure. If you guys are really interested and feel like you can pursue it, then definitely do it. Don't let the negative aspects behind the name really stop you from doing that. I think if you really want to pursue it, you can learn. I know one of my friends was really struggling with it, but then when he got into it and really observed what it was, he got into clubs and did like hacking with Illinois, and essentially they built a robot over a weekend where they didn't sleep. It was 48 hours of just hacking in Illinois, making this robot, and he really loved it. And he's off in Seattle working for Amazon, and he loves it.
I want to say this for the young ladies. The engineering field needs you. Okay, we need you, especially as we get older, or just in general, we need women, because women bring a different dynamic thought process, design aspect to any problem. Okay, so could you imagine if a guy was designing all your t-shirts or all your blouses or all your Prada purses? Could you imagine that? You can't imagine that, right? Or your Michael Kors bag, come on now. So if you think that they were designing everything that you wear, they have no clue about a high heel shoe. That's a problem. So it's no different than your cars that you drive, the phones. Like, here's our newest phone. It's way too big. I'm like, guys, you didn't have a woman on the team, probably. You know?
Put it in your pocket.
You're right. So they designed those for them.